man, I love this player. I love this player so much, and I have been for years, but I've never really talked about him. So, with seeing Dolany TV's video earlier yesterday, where he talked about the Edmonton Oilers top 6 and how that was changed by this player, which you should all check out. I'll leave a link in the description for you to do that, by the way. But this player, oh man. Today, we are talking about the Edmonton Oilers, and we're taking a look at another one of these what's next kind of angles. In these videos, we usually talk about one individual player. We talk about their journey as to how they became NHL players in the most previous season, and then we talk about what's next for them to come in 2020-2021. The last video, we talked about the Montreal Canadiens goaltending prospect Cayden Primeau. Today, we are talking about a young Edmonton Oilers rookie, a guy who has captivated the hearts of many in Edmonton and many of Asian heritage. Let's talk today about Kailer Yamamoto. Now, I know Yamamoto is an American guy. It's just that his paternal grandfather is Japanese, so he is a Japanese-sounding guy. Yamamoto is as Japanese as it gets, same with, Nick Suzuki, for example. But Kailer Yamamoto is a guy who the Edmonton Oilers drafted all the way back in 2017, 22nd overall. Now, he was a guy who in his draft year, he got 99 points in 65 games for the Spokane Chiefs. He was a small, skilled playmaking goal scorer who wasn't afraid of anything. He was fearless. He would rush in the battles. He would go in there and charge up other guys, and he got so many points, even though he was only 5'7". But that didn't stop the Edmonton Oilers from taking this player, and in fact, it didn't stop too many people from thinking of him as a very valuable player. ISS had him at 26, Future Considerations at 15, NHL Central Scouting had him at 17 for North American guys, Bob McKenzie, McKeans, they all had him in the 20s, so he kind of went where people projected him to go. And early on, as his draft plus 1 year, the Edmonton Oilers gave Kailer Yamamoto a chance to dance. They gave him the 9 games in the NHL. He only got 3 points, but he eventually did get sent down and played another year in the WHL. Since then, though, it's been up and down for Kailer Yamamoto. He played in the World Juniors a few years ago, and he played for the Bakersfield Condors this season and last season. But this season is kind of where Kailer Yamamoto really exploded and showed to the world that despite the fact that he's only 5'8", 159 pounds, this guy can be a great NHL player. He's only 21 years old, and he just came off of a stint in the Edmonton Oilers organization where he played 27 games in the NHL, and he got 26 points. Boy, this guy was a point per game. This guy was playing in the Bakersfield system in the AHL, and he was better in the NHL when he got called up at the end of the year in 2019. End of the year, I mean literally at the end of December. He made his NHL debut in 2019-20 on December 31st, where he scored a goal against the New York Rangers. Since McDavid went down with an injury, it opened up the door for the Edmonton Oilers' top 6 to be shuffled around a lot. This is what Tyson Dolany TV talks about in his video, but for the most part, Edmonton's forward core was in a weird spot, because with no McDavid, you had to full-on rely on a guy like Leon Draisaitl to carry the load. And for the most part, anybody who has been paying attention to the NHL can kind of see that, yeah, Leon Draisaitl is really, really good, and he is so strong that he doesn't need McDavid to score points. The guy was able to get so many points without Connor McDavid, and I think Connor McDavid going out with an injury again just kind of proved to the NHL that, yeah, Draisaitl is as legit one of the better players in the NHL. And the fact is, the Edmonton Oilers didn't really need Connor McDavid to start winning games, because when Kailer Yamamoto was called up, he was placed on a line with Leon Draisaitl and with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, two guys who are very good. And sure, you could say that Yamamoto playing with good players contributed to his points. That's why he was a point per game in the NHL at 21 years old and as a 5'8" guy. But there were some nights in January where the Edmonton Oilers were winning games like crazy. If you take a look at their January results, they were 6-1-2 in that span. Yeah, they lost more games in shootouts and overtimes than they did in regulation. There were some nights where Kailer Yamamoto just looked like the best player on that line. And he's playing with Leon Draisaitl. There is so much untapped potential with this player right here that when it comes to answering the question as to what's next, first off, when it comes to the individual play of Kailer Yamamoto, boy oh boy, does this guy have the ability to succeed in this league. The way the NHL is trending more towards speed, skill, shifty mitts, and playmaking, it's kind of everything you'd want if you're a Kailer Yamamoto-like player. A guy who thrives off of his puck skills, his passing, his silky mitts, his determination, and his very, very, very quick feet. He's a guy who has to have become fast. He's only 5'8", which means that growing up throughout the WHL and adjusting in the AHL, he needed to get faster to keep up with the guys who have longer strides at 6'2", 6'3". And if you're a guy who is as small as Yamamoto is, and you're able to survive in the AHL the way he has at 20 and 21 years old, there's a lot of room for growth here if you're able to keep up and match that pace in the AHL. And those rewards have just been coming and coming. We noted it earlier on in the video, but Yamamoto's production was better in the NHL than it was in Bakersfield. And that's crazy. And seeing as that Yamamoto is, according to NHL.com, tied for the 5th shortest player in the league this year, it certainly paves the way as to what people are perceiving shorter players can be. It's Yamamoto, it's Alex DeBrincat, it's guys who are getting points like crazy like Rocco Grimaldi and Matt Zuccarello, who are showing this league that yes, short guys can do their thing too. So, I give mega props to the Edmonton Oilers for giving a guy like Yamamoto a chance to succeed. Giving a guy who has recognizably great talent the opportunity to showcase and exploit that talent alongside of the best in the league in Leon Draisaitl. Imagine playing Yamamoto with a full season's worth of time and having him sustain that point production. Imagine if this guy gets 80 points next year. The hockey world would honestly implode. And I love it. I love seeing the new direction that this league is going towards, headlined by guys like DeBrincat and Yamamoto and all that stuff. And for Yamamoto himself, taking a look at what he was supposed to be when he was drafted, which a lot of people said, hey, maybe a middle six forward with some good offensive flair, a good second-line power play producer. Sure, he's great in junior, but his height is going to hold him back. That's not valid anymore, man. This guy was a point per game in the NHL. And there's so much to grow here. So much potential, so much room for this player to become better that I am so excited for seeing Yamamoto's future in the National Hockey League. As a short Asian guy myself, seeing these success stories really hits home for me. And yeah, I'm totally not self-inserting myself into these situations and living, breathing, experiencing these NHL dreams through these other short Asian players playing in the NHL. That's totally not what's happening here. But recognizing that there are other short NHL players who also happen to be Asian is awesome for me, because I am a Filipino guy. I'm only 5'3", so a lot of people don't recognize that right off the bat. So for Yamamoto next year, I would honestly say that if this guy can play a full season in the NHL, if he gets 50 points, then he's legit. He's absolutely legit if at 22 years old he is able to get 50 points in a season. Now, that's bearing the situation that says, okay, maybe he doesn't play with Nugent-Hopkins and Draisaitl, maybe he doesn't play with a McDavid, maybe he plays elsewhere, but if he's able to get 50 points next year, then we could be on the cusp of seeing a great NHL player's career kick itself off towards the moon. And I'm excited for that. Oh man. So comment down below what you think Kailer Yamamoto's future looks like next season, long term, etc. However you want. Let's talk about this Japanese descent player in Yamamoto in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. This was Trost99, and bye.